Arena on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. A couple weeks we're going to find out a couple things. How much has the new Marxist Party damaged its brand? Is it so much that they lose statewide races in Virginia and New Jersey, two blue states? Will Trump voters come out when Trump is not on the ballot? Can a focused effort to turn out on-again, off-again Trump voters work in New Jersey and Virginia? And does that portend good things for the midterms next year? Trump has weighed in on the races now. He posted on Truth Social about the Republican gubernatorial candidate in New Jersey. Jack Ciattarelli is a winner for New Jersey. Mickey Sherrill is the exact opposite, a stone-cold loser who will drive your energy costs through the roof, just like the Democrats are doing all over the country, but even more so because she has no understanding of what she's doing. Put simply, Jack Ciattarelli will bring your energy costs down to a new low, and Mickey Sherrill will do the exact opposite. Energy costs under her will go up by levels never seen before. Mickey has no clue as to what she's doing. New Jersey, vote for Jack Ciattarelli. He will never let you down. And on Air Force One, he was asked about the controversy that has enveloped the Virginia races, both governor and Attorney General. It started at the Attorney General level, as of course we've talked about it. Jay Jones, who wished death on the former Speaker of the House of Delegates in Virginia, as well as really sort of graphic death wishes, fantasies about the death of this former colleague's pre-adolescent children. Terrible stuff, which he spent most of the debate between Jay Jones, that is, between the incumbent Attorney General Jason Miyares trying to deflect and pivot and whataboutism his way out of it. Didn't really work. Trump was asked about that AG candidate on Air Force One.
Jay Jones in Virginia.
Jay Jones, you mean the one that wanted to kill somebody's children and kill somebody? You mean the animal that wanted to kill somebody? Who should not be allowed to be running for that office?
Yeah, he said he can't wait to see you in court. I'm wondering if you have a response and if you're considering getting involved in that race.
Well, what is he saying?
He said in the debate on Thursday night that he can't wait to sue your administration and see you in court.
No, he's a third-rate intellect. He's a guy who I've never seen anybody say what he said, that he wanted to kill his opponent's children, he wanted to kill his opponent. No, I can't imagine anybody voting for Jay Jones. Look, you would think he's totally discredited. I would think he wouldn't even be allowed to do that. Anybody would be put in prison for what he said. So he can join the long list of attorney generals that have been suing and losing. But the people of this country want law, they want order, they want safety. They don't want to be mugged or raped or shot. And that's what we provide.
And by the way, Winsome Sears, the gubernatorial candidate in Virginia, Republican, she did a pretty good job of prosecuting this case against her opponent, Abigail Spanberger, in their debate, where she pressed Spanberger for a response, a disassociation. She didn't get any. Spanberger just stood there staring away from Sears for a minute. It was uncomfortable. It was a bizarre way to handle it. I don't think it helped. But Sears seems to be still struggling a few points behind, whereas in New Jersey, it appears to be a dead heat. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Gage Klipper, writer based in New York. Previously, he was a culture critic at the Daily Caller and an editor at Pirate Wires. Gage, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan. Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So I guess, let's start in New Jersey, or perhaps do a comparison contrast. What is your handle on the possibility of upsets in one or both of those states?
Yeah, so I wrote a piece for The Spectator over the weekend, actually weighing both of the options out. You know, Mikey Sherrill's sort of the conventional face. She's the conventional favorite. You know, she's a 4-term U.S. Congresswoman, even though you've probably never heard her name. You know, she checks all of the normal boxes: Navy veteran, Georgetown law, and that sort of respectable patina of girl bossness, moderation, to go right along with the pantsuit. But, you know, she is a radical far left Dem, just like all of them. And, you know, she votes the party line 95% of the time, her record shows. And Chitterelli's, you know, your generational Jersey Goomba. You know, say what you want about the guy. He's got his slick back hair, his accent, you know, his questionable Big Pharma history that, you know, come on, none of us like Big Pharma. But he's a Jersey guy through and through. He's come along to the MAGA side, it seems like. You know, he's even gotten Trump's full endorsement, who came out and said he's now 100% MAGA. And, you know, if he can't win in Jersey, then, you know, he really should be able to pull off the W in his home turf. So, you know, he's been around for a while. He's a known entity. This is his 3rd time running for governor. And the last time around in 2021, he only lost by 3 points. That was against Phil Murphy, you know, who we all know from the COVID era. You know, he was a national figure just like Cuomo and just like Whitmer. And, you know, that was back when cancel culture was everywhere and, you know, Democrats had an iron grip on the narrative and all anyone was talking about was January 6th. And, you know, if he could get within 3 points back then, you know, he should be able to pull this off. But, you know, we'll see. State polling's limited. You know, there's a few here or there. But, you know, we do see the polls narrowing. So it's, you know, it started towards near a 10-point spread when the polls started. You know, it's now narrowing down to 6. And, you know, you could say what you want about trusting the polls. But, you know, Sherrill's not even breaking a majority. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
What about the enthusiasm to the extent that it's able to be measured? In other words, you know, the wild card always, will Trump voters come out? Because especially if you're going to spring an upset in a blue state, you need full participation by on again, off again Trump voters, in addition to moving some people from the middle to the center right.
Exactly. You know, enthusiasm is what matters in the age of populism. And, you know, the Dems don't really have it. They have their fake No Kings protests that are all funded by billionaires. And, you know, the enthusiasm really is on the populist right side. You know, so that same Quinnipiac poll, which is the most recent state poll out of Jersey, shows Chitterelli voters saying, you know, 55% are very enthusiastic compared to just 52% for Sherrill. You know, it tracks a variety of different issues. You know, how they're going to handle schools or transit or keeping your family safe or the economy and everything. And, you know, they're all sort of within spitting distance. And, you know, that speaks to how crazy it is that people could view a far left Dem, you know, in a similar boat with the Republican. But, you know, if what's that, a 13-point spread? If 13% of Dems just shrug their shoulders on election day, then, you know, it's pretty safe to say how this thing's going to turn out.
Oh, you said 55-42 in terms of the enthusiasm gap in favor of Chitterelli? 50. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's not 55 is not great, but it's a 13-point spread is certainly that certainly helps. It's
bigger. It's bigger than what it's bigger than what the voting poll shows. So
yeah, right. Yeah, right. And do you have any perspective on Winsome Sears? I mean, she's been subjected to some awful invective as you know, not maybe Jay Jones level, but I mean, just even at the James Madison football game over the weekend, some, you know, leftist honky told her to go back to Haiti. She's actually from Jamaica, but that's not really the point. And, you know, signage about if you don't support trans, I won't let you use our fountain. And I mean, just crazy stuff from the crazy left. That has targeted Winsome Sears, too, but she seems to be struggling more in Virginia than Chitterelli is in New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's probably a weaker candidate. Even though Virginia is sort of more naturally suited as a swing state, you look at New Jersey, and the last Republican governor was Chris Christie in 2012, who now is really just famous for hating Trump. And for the presidential race, it hasn't gone red since '88. But, Virginia, it's been much more of a battleground state. There's been much more of a concerted effort from the national Republican level to flip the state and pump money into it and really bring about candidates, good candidates.
Especially coming on the heels of Glenn Youngkin, right? You had a successful term.
Yeah, exactly. And, he was such a winning candidate. He touched on the MAGA populism, but also he was, had the sort of patina of respectability that those moderate suburban voters love, especially in Loudoun County. But, I think the one thing with Winsome Sears and all this invective she's been subjected to, the left's true colors show, whenever it's, they'll talk about all, identity as much as they want, and they'll cheer on black women as soon as they disagree with it, as long as she agrees with that. Once you stop towing the party line, then you become the enemy, and everything about race and gender goes right out the window, and they couldn't care less.
I found this interesting too, just since you're in New York, talking about Mamdani's campaign and this piece about young business professionals voting for Mamdani. People that were upwardly mobile in tech and finance, making a few $100,000, but they're still finding financing their life in New York challenging, even with relatively high salaries, and so they're going to bet on Mamdani. I mean, it's just such a sad commentary on people's understanding of basic economics in terms of why New York is affordable and how it will only get more unaffordable with ramping up these redistributionist policies that Mamdani is talking about, including tax increases, which of course will hit these very people that are supporting him. So it's just sort of a sad commentary on where the, center of gravity is with respect to the economic IQ of big city residents.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a few things I think to note on this. It's, one, you can make a few $100,000 in New York and really feel downwardly mobile from, your parents who made a decent salary in the suburbs. And, it's crazy. And, these people do feel it for sure. It's middle class in New York. New York really today exists for the very poor and the very rich. So maybe they're turning to Mamdani out of desperation. But, the irony is that they're that sort of, affluent, yuppie middle class type, for New York at least, that he wants to punish. They're the people moving into where historically working class neighborhoods and gentrifying them. And, these are the people that Mamdani really hates and wants to punish for their relative success. And, but at the same time, it might just not be that deep. There's just a current of cool factor. He's like a young guy who makes fun videos, and socialism is just cool.
Are they fun videos? I mean, you were a cultural critic. Are they fun videos? That Survivor commercial he did? I mean, boy, that's really current. I mean, that was so lame.
Yeah. I mean, it is lame. It is pretty cringy, but it does sort of touch on this like nostalgia that I'm in my early 30s that that my generation sort of has for that time when everything didn't feel so bleak. And he grew up in the industry. His mom's a famous producer. He does have that sort of fun Bollywood vibe, and you could absolutely make fun of it, and it is tacky. The way they do this, the smash cuts, and constantly flipping from frame to frame to keep the viewer's attention. It's tacky, it's cheap, but it grabs people for sure.
Well, as Ed Koch said, the people have spoken, and now they will be punished. That's what I expect to happen in New York.
That absolutely.
Gage Klipper, writer based in New York. Previously, he was cultural critic at the Daily Caller and editor at Pirate Wires as well. Gage, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Sean Thompson. When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Alpha Wealth Group, Tom Fortino understands the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, the investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and much more. But think about it. What are you really trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P, or is your goal to make memories with your family? At Alpha Wealth Group, their goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group to learn more. You can do it today. Call 632